In this video, I want to discuss the fundamentals of recovery. I basically want to define what's happening to you. We often think anxiety is just something that's mental. And while that's true, there is a subset of anxiety where it's not just that. It's not just in your mind. In fact, anxiety can be very physical. And so what I want to discuss in this video is exactly what's going on to help you understand how this recovery journey looks like from a whole view, from an aggregate view. Now, this subset of anxiety are people that are experiencing intense physical symptoms, getting repeat panic attacks where they can't even go certain places because what happens if they have a panic attack? They get racing, intrusive, scary thoughts. They even start feeling disconnected, what we call depersonalization, derealization. And what they're experiencing are weird emotions. This can be feelings of numbness. This can be feelings of brain fog or feeling fatigued all the time. Now, what often happens is people try to find ways to find relief in the moment. This could be breathing techniques, meditation, yoga, diet, exercise. People take supplements. And what often happens is people realize that this doesn't work, that you might get some marginal relief in the moment, but you're more interested in making sure this goes away long term. So there's a difference between coping and managing with anxiety and overcoming it. Now, when you overcome it, are you still going to have moments where you get a little bit nervous, where you might even feel a little bit of anxiety if you're doing something like filming a video like this? Yes. But what's going to happen is you're not going to be experiencing intense symptoms that prevent you from going places. That's what we mean by overcoming anxiety. Making sure all these symptoms go away that don't bother you. And sure, when you're living life and you might have an anxious moment, you might experience a lighter level of the symptoms, but that's normal, right? That's what anybody would experience. Whether you're struggling with anxiety or not, anxiety is an emotion. So what's going on? Simply put, your body has hit what we call a stress threshold. And basically any sort of threats that surface up, your nervous system is designed to kick in what we call a fight or flight response. What happens is that in this fight or flight response, your body goes through physiological changes to protect you from a threat. That's either by fighting it or running away. Blood flow goes to different parts of the body. Your mind will start racing. Your respiration will increase. Your heart rate will go up. It's a systemic change. Now, what happens is that when people hit that stress threshold, that's when they experience their very first panic attack. To compound that very first panic attack, because they might have never really experienced a panic attack or didn't know what was happening, and they were getting all these symptoms like racing thoughts, the heart palpitations, and they know that there's no danger going on around them. What the danger becomes is their feelings. They don't know why they're experiencing these symptoms. They don't know why they're experiencing these feelings. And so what happens is that when you hit this stress threshold, your nervous system, we say, becomes sensitized. It becomes more sensitive. So what happens is your nervous system says, we just experienced a threat. There might be a possibility that the threat comes back again. So what we're going to do as a consequence is that we're going to become more sensitive. So any small trigger, anything that might even be considered remotely as a threat, we will treat it like a threat. This is where people start experiencing intense symptoms. This is where people start getting brain fog, dizziness, nausea, vertigo, digestive issues. They can even experience feelings of detachment. They might feel like they're outside of their body. For me, it felt like I was looking at everything through a glass panel. It even felt like there was a moment where I was looking at things through like a movie screen. And so it's natural to think that there's something physiologically wrong. And so what happens is people go to their doctor. They say, the doctors do a series of tests and say, hey, everything's fine. And you're saying, what the heck? This isn't normal. This is not what I'm supposed to be experiencing. The other thing too is that there's no way to test how sensitive your nervous system is. There is no test. Now it's outside the doctor's scope. The doctor's done everything that they can to make sure that there's no physiological or anatomical issue. Once that's taken care of, then they're saying, oh, well, it's stress. Now it's outside of my scope. So how do you begin overcoming this? Well, number one, recognize that there is no short-term fix. That doesn't mean that there isn't a fix at all. It's just that you have to focus more on long-term. It's not an overnight fix. And on today's day and age, everything is so overnight. Everything is so quick. Efficiency is a big thing. It's good to have the mindset and understand that this isn't going to be something that goes away overnight, but it does go away and you're able to fully overcome it once you know what's happening. Number two, it's important to understand the mechanics of what's happening, understanding the mechanics of anxiety. This is where the blueprints, the program, the mentors, the guidance is so critical, helping you understand why you're experiencing these symptoms. Because once you're educated, then you know what to do. learning how to respond to these symptoms. What happens is when they're first struggling with anxiety, they tend to respond by reacting, meaning they will react in panic, they will react in fear, they will react in avoidance. This only perpetuates the cycle. This just reinforces it. Responding is knowing that when you experience the symptom, you learn to let it pass, you learn to let it go, and it fades on its own. Now, you do this for long enough, you'll start seeing that your nervous system begins desensitizing. It begins getting a chance to rest. But what happens is people end up panicking every time they experience panic, that it forces the nervous system to go back on high alert mode, high alert mode. And what happens is over time is that the nervous system becomes very tired. And this is why people that started having panic attacks eventually stop having panic attacks because your body can't even produce it. So once you know how to respond, then it's learning the fact that you're going to be dealing with setbacks. Recovery isn't an overnight fix. It's also not a linear thing. It's often 3 steps forward, 2 steps back. It's an up and down affair, as I always say. And so recognizing that you're going to be experiencing high intense symptoms and moments where the symptoms are lower, but that doesn't matter. The key is staying consistent in your response. Then the main focus is about learning to regain your confidence. For a lot of anxiety sufferers, myself included, anxiety reduced our quality of life. We stopped going places. We started avoiding places. We almost turned into somebody else. And so what happens is once you start learning how to respond and you start seeing results, now it's about regaining your life, actively regaining your life. So doing those things that would normally scare you, showing your nervous system, your mind, and your body that you could do this, responding in courage, not always in fear. Then the last step is making sure you have the principles to make sure you never fall back in the cycle. So this is the recovery overview altogether. How long does this process take? It just depends on how well people respond. That the speed of your recovery has a lot to do with you. I can't say that. If you are not good at responding, if you are falling into old patterns, if you're constantly panicking, your trajectory is going to be very different than someone who's responding in courage, that's learning how to respond, that's focused on long-term freedom, that has a guide with them on the recovery journey. That's something I've noticed. If somebody has somebody like a coach or a mentor or somebody that specialized in recovery guiding them through the recovery journey, they tend to go very fast. It's no different than trying to get in shape by yourself versus having a trainer and a nutritionist on your side, getting you to better shape, right? The people that have nutritionists and, fitness trainer and, all these, specialists around them, they're just going to make more progress.